back with another edition of the Down and Back Cornhole podcast, and you'll see I'm going to point the right direction. Even I'm getting so much good at this, even better. I can't even talk. For like the world record holder now, for he's got to be in the teens for on the show, Mr. Trey Ryder. Trey, how you doing?
Living the dream, Doug. Thank you so much for having me back again for the 57th time I've been on the show.
So, hey, I owe you everything to you for that one appearance on the big time TV. So I gotta keep repaying that favor.
Yeah, exactly. Got to replay the brownie points. I got you.
I've got one friend. I was like, I need you to do an opening for the show because every time I see him, he recites word for word the opening of that first ESPN3 broadcast in Niagara. Like your words, my words. I'm like, that's too much.
It's a monumental event. It's worth being celebrated for years to come.
Well, why I had you on there was another almost monumental event. That's the anniversary here. We're going to put this out Wednesday. It's going to be the anniversary of that fateful day that the world all shut down and Cornhole took off, being Cleveland.
Yeah, it's amazing. 4 years, and it's also amazing, like what a roller coaster that was, and going from the lowest of low, going from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, back to the highest of highs in just a short period of time. I can still remember how I felt. I remember where I was when I saw it. I mean, I remember all the different pieces of it so well. I remember being at dinner when I got home, just thinking that it was all over. It was all done. I mean, it was just, it's crazy that 4 years has gone by, and what we've been able to kind of build since then has been really, really special. I think really, really incredible. So it was certainly a blessing in disguise, and at least for our sport. Now, obviously, the pandemic itself was in no way, in shape or form, a positive thing. But I think what was the blessing in disguise was the crew and the staff that we had in order to fight through adversity and be able to come out in a much better spot after everything was said and done. So. Overall, I think it was, when I look back on these 4 years, still part of me is very shocked at all the things we were able to do. But when you think about the team that we had in order to do it, sometimes it can't be that too big of a shock.
Well, and I've even had people say to me when we talk about it is that maybe, even, ESPN needs to give the ACL so much gratitude for helping them with content because, I can say we because I'm kind of ACL as well, but it's, we were the first ones to come back live and say, hey, we can still do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We do remind them of that every time we we talk about airtime and things of that nature. So yes, it is a good friendly reminder to have.
Yeah, because it became it's when we first started out there was the masks, there was the bag grabbers that were taking the bags out of the hole, and it's just at first it may have been a bit awkward, but now it's something to look back on and just think what we kind of did something special.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we did something unprecedented. I mean, literally never been done before, and probably will never be done again. What we were able to accomplish. I mean, it's. We took advantage of what was in front of us, and that was the most important thing that we could have done in that situation.
Because then coming out of that, we had the whole deck arounds and the ghost cornhole stuff, which then, we went from it was the ACL in the States. We were just kind of branching into Canada then, kind of getting us a little bigger, and all of a sudden, hey, we can go global with this now because everyone's playing online, and we can kind of do the deck round scores against each other and kind of play that way. And even there was ACL tournaments. I know I want to say smart enough to have my first virtual tournament in the Cleveland area, going with people from there because we know that's one of the top areas, but it was able to be that. People were able to go and get tournaments and talk to different people that way.
Yeah, I mean, when you think back on it, I remember watching some of the top Canadian players playing in the deck rounds virtually. And it was like, oh man, it'll be good to kind of maybe get up there one day, and it would be good to like see these players in action. And then, it wasn't long after that we were there, and then all of a sudden, look where we are now. 4 years later, we're talking about a full-fledged ACL Canadian Open series that goes on. We got pro teams up in Canada. We have Europe is expanding. Europe's got 12 events this year. I mean, it's amazing to me how quickly that this has really taken off when you take a step back and appreciate how quickly that happens, because sometimes we want things to go fast while we're in the middle of it, and we don't realize that things take time. But looking back at it, it's amazing what we were able to accomplish.
Well, because even when we talk about that, the fast growth of it, because I know even with you talking before, when we were doing even some off-air stuff, is the Canadian Open stuff was kind of like year 5 type of thing, and we should be just kind of starting them now, but we're 3 years ahead of that.
Right. I mean, I can't even imagine, like, the one thing that's going to be interesting to me is, like, look what we've done in 4 years. Where are we 4 years from now?
Yeah.
Right. What are the things that we're really going to build out and really make special? Because I think that's the crazy part to me, is that, like, we can if what we've done these past 5 years is an indication what we can do in the next 5 years, the league is really set to do something really, really special.
Yeah, I think it's just a trend center, because I know it's still fresh and there's not a whole much stuff, but now we're getting into the officials at each court, and it's just, I think the ACL is just kind of breaking ground on everything, just kind of being the leader in the sport, if you would say.
Yeah. I mean, certainly we're trying to do, like, everything, every new thing that we add opens up another thing that we have to address, right? And as we grow and things like that, and I think that the biggest part is just being able to continue to adjust along the way, because for us, that was the biggest thing. In these past few years, we were always just trying to know what the next great thing is, and now that we feel like we have a general structure of a league that is what we want. Now it's about making all of the different elements better, right? We've added all these different things, but now we found the little leak points, and we found the different things that need repair and the different things. And that's what I think these next few years are really going to hone in on, is like, okay, we have a pro division, we have a global sport, we have all these different things. How do we make all of those incrementally just better? What are all the different holes that we can patch and all the different things that we can fix? So that will be, I think that's what's exciting, is because now people know cornhole, they know what it's about, but they can look forward to the idea of, oh man, I've always liked ACL, but I wish they could fix this. That's what this is about now, is these next few years, is addressing all of those little things that overall is just going to make the player experience for players that much better.
There's never been anyone that said that they have to, like, fix something here, has there? There's never been, like, a platform for that, has there been?
No feedback. We've never gotten any feedback about anything whatsoever.
No. So then, so we talk about the pro division, how to expand, and then you expand into the college the last few years, and now we're kind of getting into the high school stuff, which I think is even more exciting, because we've already got pros that are in elementary school almost, but it's the high school area, I think is the next growth for the game.
Yeah, I think the big focus, and we've had some internal meetings about this, and this is important. The important initiative for us is, like, cornhole is not just for the pro players. We need to, simultaneous to this, we are going to be making everything better for our pro players, and that comes in a number of different things. But the idea is, there's 250 pro players. There's 50 million people worldwide that are playing cornhole. So we need to address and come up with a program and keep getting better at attending to those 50 million people. And a lot of that is addressing, the youth side of our sport, and providing an avenue in which these great young players can compete at a high level and continue to, take their game to the next level, and also have an opportunity for them to just compete in general. So what we're really trying to do is build a program at the high school level that gets people playing cornhole, right? That doesn't mean that they have to travel to league night, every Tuesday, but it just means that, hey, they become a fan of the sport. They know how to play it. They They're close to the game, they're close to the league, and that's a big initiative for us. So I think bringing ACL into high schools across the country is just going to help continue to create that next generation of players that, some of them may be avid cornhole players, but others are just familiar with the sport or a general fan of it, and possibly want to watch it on TV.
And I think the best thing for me about bringing it into high schools is, as I go back to a show I did a couple years ago with Pat McCracken out of the Boston area, where he was bringing it into his school, and it was like, you know what? He was like, the best thing for him is seeing kids from all areas. Like, it's not just the top athletes. The kids that maybe never were able to play on a school team are able to kind of compete with these big top athletes. And then one step further is kids who are on, like, the autism spectrum or anything like that, they are able to compete with their peers on the same level. I think that's what can help out even for high school or even younger, is going to make this even better.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think that's the reason that our slogan is anyone can play and anyone can win, right? Yeah. And so that's really embodied when you go into a high school classroom, right? Once you're an adult, these different pockets in these different areas, you're going to see similar people of similar backgrounds. But a high school, a lot of times, can be your best example of a diverse group of students and diverse group of people. And so when you bring cornhole into that equation, it is the best way to accentuate why cornhole is a sport that is overly inclusive and can include people of all different backgrounds and everything.
Yeah, which I think that's even best, because I remember even back 2018 when I was down in Cherokee, bringing up that story again. But just I'd heard some people talk there about even cornhole getting into the Special Olympics back then. We weren't talking about just the full Olympics, but cornhole being a great sport for a Special Olympics sport, right? So maybe that's another avenue as well.
Yeah. I mean, there are just so many different ways to get people involved in this game, and that's what we're trying to tackle, right? You're going to find some people that get in because they get in via a high school, which is what we're trying to establish. Some people see it at a bar. Some people grow up playing it, right? Their parents played it, and then some people, you got to be more intentional about it. It's going to a trade show. It's going to a different sporting event. It's things of that nature that require really building it out intentionally.
Yeah, which I think is just perfect. So is there any other changes that we might be able to kind of get a little peek on here, or is everything kind of all still being worked on?
I think what's nice this year is that we just released it, but I think a lot of people may have not fully grasped it, is that our pro division looks a little bit different than it has in previous years. This year, the ACL for the pro side of things going to 4 main events. Still having our kickoff battle, Cornhole Mania, Bag Brawl, and Final Chase as our 4 core pro events. But the difference is this year is that they're kind of split over 2 event weekends. And so on the first weekend of these events, all of these pro players are going to be competing in all of the preliminary play. So they're going to play normal national singles and national doubles. That's your play to 21 format that people have been watching for years. And then also at those weekends, we're going to overlay the shootout singles and the shootout doubles. So now that round limited format gets combined into these events. So all these pros will play in a minimum of 4 events, add on ACL teams, and they'll play in 5 events on these preliminary weekends. So those are the first event weekends of all those different places. And then what's great is that once we get all the way to the finals of all of these events, we will know who those finalists are. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to have or 2 or 3 weeks later, it could be, the second half of the event overlays an ACL Open. So when everybody travels to go to these ACL Opens, the general public, they get 2 things. 1, they get to play in an open event, which is fantastic. But 2, they get to now see the television broadcasts of what all those players played all the way down to in the weeks prior. So the idea is all of these opens now will have TV broadcasts starting in New Orleans. So it's going to be a really good opportunity for people to get their cornhole fix. They can play cornhole all weekend long, and they can watch the best and the best compete on television that weekend. So that new pro structure allows it to where, the pros are competing all weekend long in a prelim event. And then, the open event really becomes a fun weekend for the general public to compete and to watch some great cornhole.
And I think for some of the pros that I've talked to is that the compressed kind of weekends like that there, it helped them out a bit more so that they're not having to go like a whole bunch of weekends, because that was tough for them, because pros still have regular jobs that they're going to during the week, and then they got to take the time off, and then they're right back at work to almost do it like almost a whole bunch of weeks in a row. That the compressed schedule can kind of help them with that.
Yeah, I think that's one of it. The decision to go with this event structure was one of a few different things, or was motivated by a few different things. So one of them was that, right? It's a consolidated travel schedule for our pro players. The other thing, in addition to that, it gives us consistency across all of our TV broadcasts, right? We always know we're going to be around this time on these events during this time of the year, which helps with the networks and being able to schedule our TV broadcasts. I think that really comes into play, but also having the TV broadcasts at an open, it allows us to really build in an atmosphere that people are going to want to attend the broadcast. And it really allows us to fill out the venue for TV to really put on the best possible product that we can. So it's a culmination of a number of different things, putting us in the best position for people to, for the ACL to put out the best product that there is.
Yeah, because I think that thing is if you can get people to stick around for the broadcast, I think that gets more people in there. And even I think I was in Michigan and even seeing some people come in that weekend that weren't even with the event. They were just coming in to be, their friends played, but they were even still just coming in to see the TV broadcast. And I think for me, that's just something of its own as well.
Yeah, exactly. And now, we'll be releasing some details on Superhole this year, but we're really excited for what we're doing with Superhole this year. And so people are going to want to come out to that broadcast. I can promise you, based on what, based on the lineup that's going to be put out there. And let's just say, Superhole this year is going to have a very much a football focus. So that's all I'll kind of lean on for now and all I can release at this time. But I think that's going to be an exciting part, is that people will want to stay for those broadcasts, come out and see and tune in to see the best, some of the best players in the world, but also some good celebrities competing as well.
Then my next thing that I get from some other people is, are we going to get a Canadian Superhole? With some of our events.
Canadian. That's a good question.
We do have some celebrities.
Yeah, you absolutely have some great celebrities. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be possible in this year, but certainly I think in years to come, it could be something that's because one thing that's tough about booking celebrities anytime is that, hey, look, you either got to have them play, give them an opportunity to really showcase what's important to them. And that means, I got to be able to have a charitable aspect to it. I have to be able to put them on a position to reach as many people as possible. So I gotta put them on TV and put them in a really good position, or I gotta pay them a good bit of money to be there. So I think we're building towards that. I don't think it'll happen this year, but certainly the idea is, expanding that brand, globally is something that would be certainly attractive to all the different areas of the world. So it's a good idea. Not sure if it'll happen here in 2024. I
was gonna say, because I do know of 3 NHL players that have JC Cornhole boards. So we know we got at least 3 that play.
We know 3 would play. That's a good point.
That's not just a sponsor kind of kick in there, but there's 3 that do play on JC Cornhole boards. So
I like it.
But yeah, so I think, and that's the thing. And then the other question I get asked by a bunch of people, and I always tell them no, is that, are we going to change the name from Cornhole to something else? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. We've established Cornhole. It's staying the name Cornhole. Get out of here.
I have not had any discussions about changing the name. I think we're too far. I think we're too far down at this point to be able to change that name.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's all from people that have no idea about the game, and it's like, just play the game once, you'll forget about it.
Yeah. I can't control the slang aspect of it, but the name Cornhole has history to it. Bags being filled with corn and throw it into a hole. I mean, there's a reason for it. So it probably predates any slang. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Exactly. And then the other thing that I love is, and I know that you guys did it before. You're coming back into it, but the ACL getting involved with NASCAR tracks. down because you're in with Atlanta there, and I know there's one at Darlington. If we can get that one back at Charlotte Memorial Day weekend would be really cool with me.
Yeah, so I think we have a growing relationship with NASCAR. Work with some great people over there, whether it's directly with the tracks or with the NASCAR brand as a whole. So yeah, we're just continuing to build that out and see what the best partnership, what that looks like, and benefits both. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll continue to do some events at tracks, and it just depends on which ones we get to. So maybe Doug, we haven't gotten across the finish line on any, no pun intended, on getting to Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I won't rule it out.
But yeah, because I still, somewhere around here in the Cornhole dungeon, I have a little ad for the before ACL that Stacy was involved with when they were at Michigan Speedway in 2006. So
That's insane. That's got to be inside tailgating then, right?
It is, yeah, and I've got it somewhere down here. I need to find it in all my stuff. But that's
a collector's item.
Exactly, and I've even got a picture of the setup around here somewhere as well. So I got to try and find that picture. But just that's just how long we've been around with this as a sport. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, it's this brand new thing," but no, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's a collector's item, Doug. Don't let that go too far.
Got to try and find it. Maybe that's how I can get him to come on the show, by saying I have this. Maybe he'll decide to come on.
That's good leverage.
Because every time I see him, he's like, "Yeah, I've got to come on the show." It's like, okay, let's do it. And then the next time, got to come on the show. So it's Stacy, we're ready for you. But again, thanks for taking the time out to do this here. I know you've got a busy schedule because there's just got to deal with all the different cornhole fetishes, whether it be feet or hands or whatever. It's just it's too much. But again, thanks for coming on and doing this here, and hopefully I'll be able to get down to see you at an event down there that you're going to be at. So
yeah, absolutely. If not, definitely Worlds, right? I mean, I think you're planning to come to Worlds, right?
Yeah. If not, because someone has me doing a busy schedule of cornhole stuff up here. I can't say any names. But it's great. We're getting this year promoted everywhere, and I think each event is getting bigger and bigger, and I think we're ready to really blow things up here. So we're ready.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be a big year for us. So we'll see what the year brings.
Okay. Well, again, thanks for doing this here, and we will see you at an event very soon.
Until the 58th appearance on the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe we'll do that next week. Who knows? But until then, everyone have fun. Be nice to each other, especially on social media. You don't need any kind of dramas, and just have fun throwing bags, because that's what Trey wants you to do, and start in high school.
Exactly.